russosbrand.com, where the pros are the pros. Lions, tigers, bears, and head.
You have children go out there and do exactly the same thing you do, thus proving that it has no value and that anybody can do it. I broke in 40 years ago, and the prevalent saying at that time, because everybody goes, and this is the biggest mistake everyone makes. Oh, Vince killed the territories. Vince killed the territories. No, he did not. That shows just how ignorant you are when you say that. Vince did not kill the territories. Vince simply gave opportunities to all the workers that were in the territories, and all the workers went to Vince, and that left the territories with nothing but wrestlers. The statement I'm about to make holds true today as much as it did then. Anyone, I cannot emphasize this enough, anyone can put a pair of boots and a pair of knee pads and a pair of trunks on and be a professional wrestler. Period. Anyone can be a professional wrestler. Not everyone can be a worker. Workers make money. Wrestlers don't. What killed the territories was that there were nothing left but wrestlers in those territories, and therefore they didn't draw money. The reason that there was such a huge boom for WWF in the 80s at that time was a combination of Vince and his genius and the talent roster of all the real workers that were left that left the territories and went to do business there. Was why he was able to run A, B, and C towns, because he had a roster full of workers, people who knew how to work a match, work an audience, and give them what they paid to see. Yes, anyone can do your job. Anyone can be a professional wrestler. Not everyone can be a worker. Anyone can paint a house. Not everyone can be an artist. And now all of you, literally all of you, are happy to endeavor to just be a guy who can paint a house. I can get anybody to paint a house, but I can't get just anyone to be able to paint a piece of art that I can now put up in a museum that will elicit emotions out of people that then want to travel great distance to come and just stare at it. And no matter what you say, no matter how much you all want to justify it, no matter how much you want to excuse it, that is the truth. I've said it before and I'll say it again, there are no workers in the wrestling business. If there are a few, but they have become the minority that used to be the majority. Yep. There is if you take 100 wrestlers, you'll be lucky if there is one worker out of 100. That's a fact. And these people that are applauded and lauded with praise, and they're the greatest thing ever, they're wrestlers. When is the last time, one, that an actual match sold WrestleMania, not WrestleMania sold itself? And because it's supposed to be the talent and the match, not the event, that sells it. Two, when is the last time? Be honest. Anybody listening to this, be honest. Ask yourself, when's the last time you could really believe, buy into, escape watching a wrestling match and actually care emotionally that somebody won or lost? And you continue to excuse and justify, and at the same time as you do that in this hand, you take a big piling steam of shit in this one, and you let children do exactly what you do, thus increasingly devaluing the very thing that you could do, which is really nothing. I could put a chimpanzee in there and they could do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. It's not your physical attributes, your athleticism, that will ever elicit a response or an emotional connection or motivate an audience to pay to see you. Oh yeah, sure, they'll do it for a period of time, because that's like watching the dirt bike show. Yeah, you're going to be amazed and astounded for a while, and you're going to, okay, show me something new. I'm bored. I'm going to go find something else because there's plenty. Oh, Al, you don't get it. You're old school. It's changed. There's so much competition now. You really think there wasn't competition years ago too? You jackasses. Really? You think that people just sat in their homes and didn't go anywhere or didn't do anything? There weren't nightclubs. We didn't have live entertainment that other people could have chose to go to instead of a wrestling show.
And you could,
That is absurd.
And you could afford it back then. You could afford
Al, the first such that you can afford it.
Al, the first.
Stop with your bullshit excuses and your justifications for your own lack of understanding and realization of the fact that you're not even doing close to what it is that you're supposed to be doing.
Al, the first baseball game my father took me to at Shea Stadium when I was a kid. You know what? You know how much box seats at Shea Stadium were $4, Al. Yeah. So you could afford to go to you can't afford to go to a baseball game today.
This again, a ridiculous justification and excuse of that such and such and such and this was and that was and that's why the house was bad. I love Tracy Smothers, God bless his heart. We would when I was in Smoky Mountain, we were sitting in the locker room, and it happened every night. The house would be bad, and all the boys would be, such a high school football, basketball. They have a play going on. There's a festival, and Tracy one night was like, "Hey boys, McDonald's is open. It's open 24/7. I don't know how we're going to draw. They got a ball pit down there. They got a play place. There's always something you're competing with.
Yep."
There's never been an era in history that you haven't been competing with something. Wrestling has never been the only game in town. Oh. The reason it is drawn is because it had workers on the card, and it had a worker at the top of the card that really got over at that time with the casual audience. So it's just disheartening and disappointing because it just makes the efforts of trying to resurrect and bring back what it could be, all the, I want to make a living doing this. That's all I ever want to do. You just go out of your way to literally shit on it to the point where you'll never be able to make a living from it unless you get signed.
Yeah.
Period. And even then you'll only get paid for a while because you're never going to use the platform for what it really is. It just really, it's disgusting. Yeah. It really is disgusting.
Wow, that's a education right there, bro. Amazing. But
it's what I say all the time.
I know. And you know what? That's the thing, Al. The numbers are right in front of them. They see how many years it's going in the same direction, which is down. Oh. At what point does Tony Khan, Triple H, whoever, at what point does somebody say, hey, man, have you looked at the numbers lately? We're not going in the right direction. Maybe we need to reevaluate. At what point does that happen, bro?
Because it honestly, it takes so much effort and dedication to change that direction of the ship. You've got to literally, if you have Triple H has NXT, well, he has to go down there and he has to have, institute the edict that this isn't about just a moveset anymore. This isn't about just their entrance. This is about teaching the next generation, guys, this is how you work a match. Here is what you're really selling. Now you develop how you do that to be successful. But you've got to have the culture of the art has to be changed at the ground level. Otherwise, if everyone just continues to drink the Kool-Aid that's being dictated by people that really honestly are outside of and never been involved in this business, and they're the ones ultimately who have manifested this whole thing. They really have. And I'm not blaming them because it's not their fault. They're simply expressing an uneducated opinion. No matter how much information they have, they're simply expressing what they like because at the end of the day, they're just fans. Mm-hmm. Okay? But if you don't take control, you don't say, okay, we're going to stop. Because it's not working. we're allowing the audience now to work us. They're now telling us what it is that we need to sell. Not we are telling them, hey, this is what we're selling and this is what you're buying. And we know, because we've been doing this, that's really ultimately, even though you don't realize it, that's really what you want to buy. You really want to buy this because we know we get it. You don't. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Instead, that's like, again, I use this as an analogy. It's like the medical community, because of the fact that there's now access to information on all kinds of diseases and injuries. And, you can go on the internet and you can Google anything you want. You can go on the internet. You can read the New England Journal of Medical Science. You can go on TV. You can watch all kinds of medical shows. But at no point in time, even though you have access to all this information, are you ever considered a doctor? You know what I mean? I've used this analogy, like you can go to medical school, literally go to medical school for whatever it is, as far as your specialty is concerned, for the number of years that you go to medical school, and you graduate and you're not a doctor. You're not designated as an MD until you've actually went and done residency, which is hands-on experience coupled with your information. Now that makes you a doctor. Same goes for professional wrestling. You're a fan with an opinion because you're not in it, haven't done it, and you don't have an understanding nor a relationship with it on an intimate level that it gives you knowledge to be able to actually dictate what happens in that ring. But as the performers now no longer themselves do it for a living, they're no longer invested or vested in it in the same manner as the generations before. Now it's I'm just trying to get that pat on the back, that critical acclaim, that applause. And let's face it, because of the fact that the opinions of people that have never really done it now end up creating or warranting an internet darling who now gets more opportunities to do it. All because somebody who doesn't know anything about it said they were good because they were a fan of them. And then other fans who respect and look up to that fan's opinion start going, yeah, he's really good. She's really good. And then promoters who aren't really promoters, who are nothing more than just fans themselves, go, oh, well, we need to get this particular person, put him on our show because you know who, that fan said that, and these fans said they're really good. So that means clearly there must be that many fans in this area that will want to come see him. And of course they don't. And they end up overpaying this person because now they're an internet darling who know better than the people you already have on the show. You just had to spend more money for another person and now the people that are there that have been putting in the regular time, they get a hot dog and a handshake because you can't afford to pay them because not enough people showed up to see the guy or the girl. But you still paid them a lot of money because this fan told all these fans who all agreed with this fan that this guy or girl is now the next big thing. And yes, it gets to where it travels up the food chain to the point to where one of the bigger platforms go, oh, wait, there's this guy or this girl, and this fan told all these fans who agreed with this fan that this one's the next major superstar. We've got to put him on our major platform. And they shit the bed repeatedly.
And Al, what you're not saying is, bro, that happens every month.
All the time.
Every month, bro, there's the hot new thing. And the next month, okay, you're not the hot new thing anymore. This is the hot, and on and on and on and on.
It's been happening for years.